A U.S. federal judge has no authority to tell El Salvador what to do. We are apparently now in the business of protecting members of murderous gangs from other murderous gangs.
There have been allegations that he is a gang member, that he's involved in human trafficking.
ICE has testified, members of ICE, that he is an MS-13 gang member. So the argument that because these people are living among us, these illegal aliens from El Salvador, means they're not part of a gang, that's how they're hiding. That's how they're succeeding.
So Obrego Garcia, though, was not charged with any of these things, stabbings, murders, anything. No. He was never charged or convicted with anything. Even if you did, would he then face charges here?
The best thing to do is to get these people out of our country. And when that first plane left and landed in El Salvador, there were 261 reasons why Americans were safer. We have to look out for the safety of our country, first and foremost. The president is going to comply with the law. He was overwhelmingly elected by an overwhelming majority of the United States citizens to be our commander-in-chief, and that's what he's been doing. Shannon, just since January 20th, we've had over 170 lawsuits filed against us. That should be the constitutional crisis right there.
All right, that was U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi and also legal eagle Greg Jarrett saying, yes, the deportation of a suspected MS-13 gang member to El Salvador, it should have taken place. The Trump White House is saying he is an MS-13 gang member. Critics say he hasn't been charged with any crimes. But today, the Supreme Court delayed a judge's order to bring that guy back to the U.S. After midnight tonight, joining us now, former Deputy Press Secretary to President Trump, he's Hogan Gidley. Hogan, it's great to see you. What do you make of this story?
Again, Democrats seem to be on the wrong side of all of the issues facing this great country. The 80-20 issues where a majority of the American people understand the fact you cannot have violent criminals roaming our streets from other countries who don't have the right to be here, while Democrats say, no, let them stay. And if you dare try to send them back, even though they don't have a right to be here, of course, then you should bring them back into our country. I mean, it's so confusing as to why they are where they are on these issues. Just the politics and the pragmatism of it, you'd think they try and right some of those wrongs, but they don't. They double down on the wrong policies here. And as I've long said, they don't have a messaging problem on the left. They've got a policy problem. And this is another in a long line of examples, because every single murder, every rape, every burglary, every assault, they're 100% preventable when they're committed by an illegal alien because they don't have the right to be here in the first place.
Let's show Title 8. Title 8 in the U.S. Federal Code, federal law, says the president does have the right to deport illegal aliens if they even break the law crossing the border. Crossing the border violates and breaks federal law. What do you make of the House this week? It's preparing a bill, legislation to rein in federal judges who basically they're accused of exceeding their jurisdiction, ruling against the Trump White House. We just heard AG Bondi saying there's 170 lawsuits filed against the Trump administration, including blocking deportations.
Yes, and Pam Bondi has done a great job in just her short time as Attorney General. And of course, the president leading the way on this issue as well. But I don't think anyone's surprised by the overreach from these activist liberal judges, because they did it in the campaign. They tried to put him in jail. They tried to kick him off of the ballot. They use lawfare to try and get what they want when they're not winning elections. Donald Trump becomes president of the United States, and now they're doing it again. 68% of all injunctions against presidents have come against Donald Trump. It is clearly a tool and a tactic of the left. And when you take a look at these judges and their backgrounds and their relationships, you realize they really are rife with bias. It is a big problem and has been for a long time in the judicial branch. And of course, it really does violate separation of powers, equal rights, and it really attacks our Constitution as well. The American people don't like it. They don't want it. AG Bondi is absolutely correct here.
Hogan Gidley, thanks for being with us tonight. I appreciate you so much. Good to see you.